Just a humbling film to watch, looking at, all phases and the corrections, the fundamental things that we need to improve upon, and just went right to the truth of it, just looking at the film and everybody taking accountability for the different things that we can improve upon in the different areas. So, it's certainly in all phases. It's tough to look at the truth of what it is, but that's all we got. That's all we can do is look at those things, start with the basics and the fundamentals of it, and just take it head on and attack it again this week in practice.
What is the truth?
Yeah, take care of the ball first and foremost. Can't turn it over, and expect to have success in this league. The offense as a group will be the first to tell you the execution was not there. The details of the alignments and assignments, the things that we've been seeing come alive in practice, translating to the game, and we were making strides. But we certainly took a in that game yesterday, did not show up, and so the guys are taking responsibility for that, and I'll always be upfront with them about different situations. And defensively, it starts with the run game, and this was a really challenging run game with the quarterbacks, and the different styles of how they did it, and we've already, we know that that's something that we've been continuing to try to address. And so again, just like looking at those things, watching the film, see where the fits are at, there's reasons and explanations behind all those details of what's happening, which I won't get into, but in general, just having that discipline to play team defense against the run game and minimizing the explosives there. Special teams unit, I thought we covered pretty well. I thought their, kickoff return, they had some advantages on us, and we put the ball on the ground once on one of the returns. So the challenge for our group there in the kickoff and kickoff return, again, is just making sure we're getting to our landmarks and sustaining our blocks, keeping those penalty free. We've had a couple penalties on returns, so we got to clean that stuff up too.
Dave, you mentioned putting the ball on the ground on special teams. Yeah. Blackshear got injured his shoulder. Do you have an update on him?
Right now, they looked at it. He had a dislocation in his shoulder, and all the MRI and everything came back looking as good as it could for that. So he'd be day to day right now. We'll figure out all the injury stuff on Wednesday.
But Adam Thielen and Jordan Fuller are also eligible. Do you plan on getting them back?
I'll give you guys all those updates on Wednesday.
Dave, obviously you guys, you made a big investment in Bryce. Before you were here, granted, 4 draft picks, a top wide receiver. Do you feel like this organization needs to get him out on the field to see if he can play, to see if he can be the franchise quarterback here? Does that need to happen?
Right now we're focused on the Broncos. Andy's playing this week, and that's really where our focus is at. And all those other conversations are all hypothetical conversations that, definitely Dan, Brant, that we have to have. But right now we're focused on playing the Broncos and, focused on getting Andy to take another step in terms of getting us back to good football.
Are they conversations that are ongoing, and are you a part of them?
Again, all hypothetical questions. We're focused on the Broncos and Andy.
But from a non-hypothetical standpoint, you have said multiple times that Andy gives you the best chance to win. You guys have lost 4 straight games. What does that say about what you guys need to do as a coaching staff to get more out of whatever Andy can do to help you guys win?
Yeah, just get back to the basics. Andy'd be the first to tell you there's plays he'd love to have back from yesterday. And offensively, the guys would tell you same thing. It's not all on the quarterback. It's everybody playing, being where they're supposed to be, lining up properly, and that's the focus right now.
You have said before, or at least the week you benched Bryce, that you were not considering a trade of him. Has that changed?
Again, hypotheticals. This is stuff that Dan and Brant will be talking through, all those different processes, and right now my focus is to try to get us back to playing really good football.
We saw Jalen Coker outsnap Jonathan Mingo again. Mingo didn't get a target in that game. What did you see from the younger wide receivers overall?
Rough day. Not detailed football. I thought we were taking strides with that group. They were showing up and making plays. This week was a challenge. And as coaches, we got to look at the plan. Are we doing too much with these guys? Are we moving them around too much? You can't be so simple that you're predictable. But at the same time, I think there's always that, what is the line that we can push to? And can we do just a little bit more? But yesterday it felt like we overloaded that group. Clearly, and they got to take responsibility as well of preparing, and they're working hard at it. But, I know we can do better.
Why do you think that you faced 2 rookie quarterbacks this year? You got a third one coming up this week. Why do you think their teams have been able to have success despite their rookie mistakes? Why you couldn't get that out of Bryce?
It's about us. It's about, just playing good fundamental defense, stopping the run first and foremost, forcing teams into known pass situations where you can attack them. And we haven't been able to do that. And so regardless of who the quarterback is, if we can't have that starting point of playing good, tough physical defense against the run game, it opens everything else up, which is also why we believe in running the ball here, and so that's just kind of how it played out.
Do you feel any frustrations from the players due to how stagnant the team seems to be right now?
Absolutely. These guys are very disappointed with our performance thus far, and they're playing hard, and our guys are giving great effort. That's a great starting point, but we have to play good football, and that's the goal. That's the closest goal that we have, is to get to good fundamental ball that we can be proud of. And we're not there, and we got to continue to just push into that, press into that, and everybody needs to take responsibility, and they're responding the right way in terms of how it feels, but it's just like brass tacks again. Can we make it come to life on Sunday for the strides that we're taking throughout the weeks?
When you took this job, did you anticipate that it would be this challenging and you might be sitting here, at 1-6 after 7 games?
Regardless of what team you're on, you can expect challenges in this league, particularly at the rate that we've been turning the ball over. Just loose with it, how we carried it, the decisions at quarterback, all those things. Then you make football really hard as you're figuring out your concepts, as you're figuring out your scheme. We've got a bunch of faces that come in here. So, okay, here we go. Let's start focusing in on a core of our calls, and so we're making it harder on ourselves by just starting off with the ball, and so I expected it to be a challenge regardless, because it's the NFL, and every team is loaded with a bunch of professionals on each roster, so these challenges, we have to go through this. The only way through this is to get to good fundamental football, and that's where we got to be committed.
How has your relationship and conversations evolved with Brant and Dan through this adversity?
Yeah, it's challenges to have all these conversations and the roster moves. What's the best group to put on the field on Sundays, and to have to go through these things on a weekly basis, and now we have guys potentially coming back to us. It's going to require more discussions and more decisions, and so it's really challenged us in a good way. But I think that we're not unique to the NFL. I think that there's 31 other teams having to figure out who's up, who's down, and deal with different injuries as we've seen around.
One of those interceptions, Andy said it was miscommunication. There was questions about Deontay's route. Can you say what the tape showed?
They talked through that. I want to keep those conversations private between the two guys.
Was it on Deontay?
I'll keep the discussions private between those two guys.
He mentioned that he probably should have dirted the screen pass. Do you agree with that?
Andy would be the first one to stand up here and tell you he should have put that ball in the dirt. And in that situation, they had a better call than we did. And that goes back to me and my play choices there, and sometimes the quarterback can take care of you. You could have taken care of me on that one.
Dave, after you watched the tape, Shaw got his first significant game reps yesterday, snaps. What did you see from him? What can you kind of build on there?
Yeah, a lot of high energy play. Again, just the discipline of his eyes, staying with his matches. Those are the things that we want to continue to see him improve on. But, from snap one to his final snap of the game, he showed a lot of great energy and aggression out there. So I was really excited about where he's headed.
How do you temper that aggression? Obviously, you had the hold and the PI.
Yeah.
When you review the tape, how do you get a guy to be maybe a little less handsy but still stay aggressive?
Yeah, that's the discipline of it, right? Eyes and feet, so you have to make sure you're seeing what's happening, you react, and then, of course, just as you play to the ball, you're playing the ball instead of playing through the person. So these are all fundamental things that he's got to continue to improve on.
Any changes beyond quarterback that you're thinking about making a change because of performance the last few weeks?
Not off the top of my head, but again, we're looking at everything. We're looking at how all guys are performing, and we have to do that on a weekly basis.
Still pleased with the way Yosh and Brady are filling in?
Yeah, solid. I think to start, I think Yash missed a few plays, and then he settled in and played good football. I thought Brady had us targeted the right way in the protections in the run game for the most part. So I was pleased again just with those guys giving us a chance to be successful on offense. And I think they'll both tell you, there's plays they'd love to have back.
Dave, just to follow up one last thing on the quarterback situation. I think there's a faction of people out there that are like, because you guys haven't put Bryce back in, that you've lost confidence in him. And I just wanted you to address that. Have you guys lost confidence in him?
This is about Andy Dalton. This is about playing the Broncos. This is about taking strides with our group that we have in, and that's really where the focus is. And that's what all I can give you right now.
Why do you think Andy still gives you the best chance?
Just in terms of how the progression of what we've been doing offensively, I think that, if you look at the collection of the games he's played, there's been some really good situational passing that have come out of it. We've had some explosive plays come out of it, the offense has ran smoothly for the most part, and, I'd love for us as a group, Andy included, to find a way to finish, and yesterday we didn't have a finish up. The game got out of hand so quickly, but the week before, I think that's where we were headed. But now again, we have to address just fundamental execution, breaking the huddle, lining up properly, and finishing those plays.
Dave, with Mariota going in and doing what he did yesterday, is there a succinct explanation to the defensive struggles after you watch the tape?
All the things that we've addressed already. It's the same deal, it's stopping the run game, being really focused there, and then just communication on the back end and continuing to, play together and make sure we pass those matches off and get the quarterback down. We had a couple of good rushes. We didn't get the quarterback down, and both quarterbacks made plays by extending it. So finding a way to make sure that when we have those ops that we get the guy down.
Dave, early in the game, you had a kind of a throwback wide receiver screen set up for Xavier.
Yeah.
What happened on that? Obviously the throw was poor, but where did that break?
Started off with the protection breakdown on the right side. Andy had a guy in his lap well before we're ready to set up to throw the screen. I thought Andy did a great job getting the ball off with the amount of time he had available. And at that point right there, it was like, the emergency throw. We had it set up. If there was a chance we could get that ball into Xavier's hands, it was going to be a big play. But it all started with the protection up front.
Given what the organization gave up for Bryce, you do understand the questions regarding his status with the franchise, right?
Absolutely, completely sensitive to the questions, and they're not unfounded and unbased. But from my perspective, I'm trying to get a team to continue to take strides and take steps, and that's where my focus has to be. It has to be on getting Andy to play his best football with this group, a group that has showed promises, and then a group that has showed to struggle, and what is those struggles, and what can I do as a coach to put ourselves in the best situation. So that's really where I can focus my energy on. Yep. Thank you.